بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hello everybody and welcome to our English language course. In the last 2 months we stopped at chapter 3 and now we're going to discuss chapter 4. May I help you? It's very easy chapter and it consists about 3 parts. The first part of this chapter we have conversation. In the second part of this chapter we have asking for assistance. We're gonna explain this part later on. And the last part of this chapter we have grammar. This is the last part in this chapter. So let's begin with the first part, conversation. Let's listen to this conversation and we have to understand what's going on in this conversation. Okay, now the salesperson and the visitor. The salesperson, may I help you? The visitor, we were just looking. The salesperson, we're having a sale on electronics today. TVs and stereo equipment are all 20% off. The visitor, if we get a new TV, we'll have to buy a cabinet for it. The salesperson, no problem. We're having a sale on furniture too. The visitor, really? What floor is that on? The salesperson, right upstairs, 3rd floor. Okay, now, once again, I will repeat this conversation once again, and we have to understand it one more time. So, may I help you? We were just looking. We are having a sale in electronics today. TVs and stereo equipment are all off, 20% off. If we get a new TV, we'll have to buy a cabinet for it. No problem. We're having a sale on furniture too. Really? What floor is that on? Right upstairs, the 3rd floor. Okay, now we have finished the first part of this chapter. We have understand that this conversation is between 2 persons. They are on the clothes center, and the visitor is only just looking about the discounts and the clothes and so on. So that's what's going on in this conversation in general. So the second part of this chapter is asking for assistance. You are asking for assistance to help you in something you want to look at something you want to look at in some place. So we have 3 examples about asking a help or seeking a help from assistance. So what you would ask him to do. So the assistance, the first conversation is about the assistance and the visitor. So if you ask for help from assistance or from any assistance at any center, the assistant will ask you, hello, may I help you? The visitor, do you have this dress in size of 9? Assistance, we do have it in the 9, but not in that color. What do you think of a blue? The visitor, oh, it's nice. Can I try it on? The assistant, sure, the dressing room is left over there. So in this way we should deal with the assistance if you want to help us at anything. So the second example in this part is the assistant and the visitor again, but in another way. If you want to seek for help, the assistant, how does that pair feel? The visitor, they are more comfortable, but I like the other pair better. The assistant, I'm sorry, I don't have the other pair at 12. The visitor, could you order them for me? The assistant, sure. It will take a week for them to come in. Is that okay? The visitor, yes, that's fine. So actually, the visitor is trying a shoes in his foot, so that's why he wants another pair in the size of 12 in general. So this is the way that we have to deal with an assistant if you want from him to help us at anything in a center or in any place. Okay, now the last part in this chapter we have the grammar, and we're going to talk about when we have to make a comparison between things or between two things, and when we have to talk in an object, whether if it's in the upper limit or in the lower limit of the quality, which is named as the superlative. Okay, if we want to talk about longer is a comparison between two objects or two things. So that's why now we compare something from something. How that's come, you will see now. Okay, now I will give you two examples of the comparison or how to compare between things. See, now the first example is Ahmad is longer than Faisal. Okay, now who is from these two persons is longer than the other one? Now we see that Ahmad is the longer one than Faisal. So Ahmad is the long person or the longer person, and Faisal is the smaller person. So we compare Ahmad from Faisal. If you want to compare Ahmad from Faisal, we should say Ahmad is longer than Faisal. But consider if Faisal is longer than Ahmad, so we should say Faisal is longer than Ahmad. But in this case, Ahmad is longer than Faisal. Okay, now we got a new sentence, or we consider a new sentence. We realize a new sentence over there. Ahmad is the longest student in the class. Okay, now longest. What do we mean by longest? The longest is a superlative word. Superlative word. What does superlative mean? Superlative mean if an object is in the upper or in the lower limit. If it is in the lower limit, so we should say that something is the biggest or the longest or the hottest, etc. If you want to talk at one object and we want to express if it is in the upper or in the lower limit of the quality. So Ahmad is the longest student in the class. So we said that Ahmad is the longest, long طويل، يعني هو أطول واحد في الصف. طيب لو احنا نبغى نقول إن هو أصغر واحد في الصف، إيش نقول؟ He is the smallest student in the class. هو أصغر واحد في الصف. But in this case, he is the longest. So Ahmad is the longest student in the class. We can put another word. We can change Ahmad with another word or with another object. We could say, we can say that the pen is the longest. The pen is the longest thing in the world. Like, okay, now a man is shorter than Khalid. A man is shorter than Khalid. يعني أمان هو أصغر من خالد. Okay, now Aman is shorter than Khalid. That means that Khalid is the longest, or the longest. Okay. Aman is the shortest boy in the garden. So why we said Aman is the shortest boy? Because Aman is shorter than Khalid. So that's why we said Aman is the shortest boy in the garden. Okay, the same case in the third sentence. The cat is better than the dog. So the cat is better than the dog. القطة هي أفضل من الكلب. Okay, if you want to consider the cat as the superlative, so we should say this cat is the best animal in my life. So I consider the cat as my superlative animal. So the cat is the best animal in my life. The same case in the fourth sentence, that we should say, or we could say, the board is the bigger than the paper in size. So we compare the board as the size of the paper, because the paper is small and the board is big, or the board is the big instrument in the class. So if you want to consider the board as our superlative thing, so we could say this board is the biggest one in the whole school, or this board is the biggest one in the whole school. يعني السبورة هي أكبر شيء، أو هي أكبر وحدة في المدرسة. So we consider the biggest board as our superlative thing. Okay, now that's all for our chapter today. I hope it's very useful or understandable to you. See you later, and السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.